Hey everybody, welcome back. So today I have an exciting video planned for you guys. We are going to be doing another readathon. I'm so excited. I did one in January and had the best time. Oh, we got a cat cameo. Onyx. This is Onyx, everybody. Cat moment. We did a readathon in January. We're gonna be doing another one this month in February. I'm really excited. This month's readathon we're gonna be participating in is Jan Agaton's Jante's Inferno. I'm so excited. What is Jante's Inferno? Who is Jan Agaton? What are we reading? We're gonna talk about it. First of all, Jan Agaton, if you have not seen her on BookTube, please go follow her. She's awesome, amazing, very much a romance, horror, sometimes I think thriller reader. She does a lot of horror though, and that's why I follow her. I love her channel. I think she's really awesome. She's an avid reader. She be reading books, y'all. She reads. So if you've not subscribed to Jan's YouTube, I highly recommend it. I'll leave a little card here so you know what to look for. But she's doing Jante's Inferno. This is the second year that she's done this readathon, my first year participating, so I'm really excited for that. For Jante's Inferno, it is a play on words as Dante's Inferno, and we're going to be escaping the 9 circles of hell. So exciting, so much fun. Like, what even are we doing? So I'm really excited. I have my TBR built for this video already. We have, spoiler alert, already started reading books because I couldn't get my phone out for whatever reason to actually record this video intro. So here we are. I'm gonna go through all 9 circles, what books I'm reading for what circles. The rules for this readathon are: you cannot double up a book on the last level, you can only double up twice, and you can only double up on consecutive prompts. If you double up a book for level 2, then you would have to either use it with level 1 or level 3, but you couldn't do like level 5 or 6. It has to be consecutive. So we're gonna run through my reading TBR for this readathon. I'm so excited. So let's jump into what exactly are we reading. Like I said, there's 9 circles of hell. We're going to be trying to escape them in 10 days. The readathon is from February 6th to February 16th, so 10 days, which I think is pretty good amount of time, but like, can I read this many books in 10 days? It's 9 circles, at max 9 books, at minimum 7 books. That's a lot. So let's get into it. The first circle of hell that you have to escape in order. You can't just jump around, so here we are. The first circle of hell to escape is betrayal, for betraying your physical TBR, whether that be an audiobook, a library book, whatever you want to do, but it's not reading something on your physical TBR that you have already. So for this book, I chose to read The 100 Years War on Palestine. I got this from Libby. I'm really excited to read it. I have, spoiler alert, already read it, so you'll get an update from me after this intro on how that went. So that's circle 1. Circle 2 and 3 I'm going to be doubling up on. So for circle 2, it is read a book with a dark cover, and for circle 3, it is read a book with violence. So obviously I chose Iron Flame. Play on words, violence is her name. We have actual violence in the book. I'm already reading this for another reading vlog anyway for this series, so I thought, why not throw this into the readathon, kill 2 birds with 1 stone? I think that phrase is kind of weird. Anyway, so for circles 2 and 3, we're gonna be reading Iron Flame. For circles 4 and 5, I'm also doubling up. So for circle 4, it's a hot pick, so a popular book. And for circle 5, it's a book with conflict in the synopsis. And so for that, I chose Onyx Storm. Obviously, it makes perfect sense. It's a very hot book. It just came out. And also because the synopsis is intriguing. Why would I be reading it if I wasn't interested already? So this is going to be for prompts number 4 and 5. For prompt number 6, it is a book that you recently acquired. I have a book haul that needs to be filmed, so you'll see this book again in that book haul, but recently I acquired The Taking of Jake Livingston. Gavin reads it all. I saw him read this in one of his doing something while reading a book vlogs. I can't remember what he was, I don't know if it's like a camping, a haunted something, but I saw him read this. He said it was really, really good. He highly recommended it. So I bought it recently and I thought this would be a great book to read on this TBR. It's not super long, so I think I can get through it very easy, which is part of the plan also because again, I had to read 7 books in 10 days and that's insane. So The Taking of Jake Livingston. For prompt number 7, I don't have a physical copy of this book, but we're going to be reading Seed. I have this on Kindle. I've had this book on my TBR for a long time. Prompt number 7 is to read a book with food or beverage on the cover/title. Seed is a type of food. That's the best I could do. It's the only book I have that has like any kind of food or beverage in the title on the cover at all. So Seed is what we're going to be reading. Then for prompt number 8, we have a 5-star prediction. And honestly, y'all, I'm waffling on if I'm going to read this book or not, or if I'm going to read a different one. I'm waffling on this book. I have it on my prompt already that I've created, but I think I might pick a different book. But the book I had originally chosen is a 5-star prediction, and I had chosen Home is Where the Bodies Are. This book came out last year, I believe, and it was really highly rated because of having physical media like represented in the cover with the videotape. The synopsis sounds really intriguing, so that's part of the reason why I want to read it. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, do I think this is gonna be a 5-star read? I don't know. I don't know if this will be a 5-star read. But something I do know that would be a 5-star read, and I'm thinking about swapping this book out for, would be Murder Your Employers. I had started reading this once and was like, oh my god, this is so fun and funny. I love this. This is so silly. And then was like, I can't read this. I'm reading something else. I need to finish reading something else. But I think this book would be a 5-star for me because it's also very interesting. So I'm not really sure. We'll find out together in this vlog which one I decide to go with, but I'm going to be reading one of these for my 5-star prediction. And then the final circle is just to read one more book. You can't double up with this prompt. I'd already used my 2 double ups anyway. So for this one, I chose to read Catching Fire. The reason I chose to read this is because I'm also doing a vlog for reading all the Hunger Games series. So I figured why not throw this in at the end. I think this would be a fun book. It's also really easy and simple to read. It's not very long. So that was also part of the plan. Again, a lot of these books after the Fourth Wing series are rather small, so that was kind of my hope that I can complete the 10-day challenge with some shorter books on my TBR. Without any further ado, let's jump into it. Let's start reading for Jante's Inferno. Take it away. Okay guys, so, okay. Today is day 3. It is the 3rd day of Jante's Inferno, and I'm slacking. I didn't record me reading the other books. I just started reading and then was like, oh crap, I need to record a video for that. So I'm recording my reaction now. For day 1, we read The First Circle of Hell. We finished it on the beginning of day 2. So I read The 100 Years War on Palestine. I wanted to get into more nonfiction reading, and I thought that would be a great way to incorporate this into this TBR, into my reading. And I already had this book on loan from Libby, so I was like, that makes perfect sense. Like, let's just throw it in there. Let's read it. Sounds good. Wasn't too long of an audiobook either, so I listened to that one. It was really, really insightful. Y'all, if you have not looked into it and learned about what has happened to Palestine, the Palestinian people, what they've been through, what they've gone through, I think it's very informative. It's very, honestly, it's devastating to hear about. It's an awful situation that they've been put in as an American as well. It's very hard being an accomplice in this country to what they have been through and what they've been put through. Obviously, with the things that have been going on in the last year and this year in general, things aren't going well for the Ghazni people, Palestinian people, and you know, my heart goes out to them. I do what I can and where I can. I've been boycotting where I can. For those who don't know, I am free Palestine. Like, I'm on the side of the Palestinian people. We are doing a genocide to these people. We're trying to ethnically cleanse that land. It is disgusting, it is disastrous, and it is terrible. And if you don't agree with that, that's a weird ass opinion, but it's yours to have, I guess. But over here, that's what we believe in. Not sorry. So, all of that to say, I read that book. I thought it was amazing. It was very insightful, devastating, like I said. 5-star read, though. It is something that we should all be reading. It's something that we all should be looking into. If you have not heard about the crisis, I knew a lot about it, and I already knew a lot about the history as is from media and things like that I've consumed over the last year, but really wanted to get a concise reading of the story from the beginning to the end, kind of what's been going on for the Palestinian people. I read that book on day 1 and finished it day 2. On day 2, I started / jumped back into reading Iron Flame. I had already started it the day before Jante's Inferno started, and that was just because I was doing it for the vlog. And then I thought, I do want to participate in this readathon, so I'm just gonna suck it up and I'm gonna add this on there. I stopped reading it as soon as I came to my TBR consensus the day before, and then obviously the next day jumped into the 100 Years War on Palestine. So we are reading Iron Flame. I am doing it with a tandem read of the audiobook and the physical book. So I've been listening to the dramatized audiobook on Audible. I got that recently. So I have part 1 and part 2, which also, you'll hear this in my reading blog, but a scam, may I say? Why did we split it into 2 parts? Why am I paying twice for 1 book? Make that make sense to me. I get it's a dramatization, and so there's more money that went into it, I guess, but just like, isn't that the premise of the credit, is that I just spend 1 credit for 1 book? I don't like it. Anyway, the dramatized audiobook, though, is good. I will say I'm really enjoying it. I am being reminded in this book why I liked it and then why I hated it. If you don't know from my reading vlog that will be probably coming out after this of the Fourth Wing series, book 2 was not my favorite, y'all. This is my 2nd time reading it. I was not excited to start rereading it, but I'm actually enjoying reading part 1 of this story. It's part 2 that I hate. It's part 2 of this book that doesn't make sense, and it feels like it goes off the rails, but that's a different story for the other vlog, not for this one. So we're reading Iron Flame now. We are almost halfway through. We're still in part 1. I'm almost done with part 1. We'll be moving into part 2 soon. So I'll give you an update when I have one, and hopefully we can read all of these books in 10 days. Oh my God. We're already on day 3, and I'm only allowed 2 days to read this book. So I had to finish it today. And there's just, in my opinion, no way I'm gonna finish reading it today. So fingers crossed that we could double up some of these on other days, but we'll see. Anyway, let's get going. Let's go read. I was definitely going to adjust my appearance before I got on here and recorded my reaction to finishing Iron Flame, and then I was like, no, this is raw and real. We're gonna show it. My hair is you can't even tell because it's so dark in here. My hair is a lumpy sideways mess. I have 1 earring in because I was laying on the couch with my daughter while she was sleeping. Oh my goodness. It is Monday. It is a Monday. That'd be Monday, and I also still have all my books on the floor from a video that I just filmed. I filmed myself doing the books on my TBR for 2025 list, so everything that I own basically that I have not read. So there's a lot of books down there. It's like 80 something books, which is insane. I don't realize I own that many books that I've not read yet. I just finished reading Iron Flame. So this is the 2nd book in the Fourth Wing series, and it was really good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I think that I like it better than I remember liking it. I don't remember why I was so upset with it now. I still stand by my 4-star rating. I still don't think this is a 5-star. This is not better than Fourth Wing by any means. I think it's because I know why I gave it 4 stars before. It's because the story feels like we jump around a lot. It feels like we're jumping from one setting to another setting to another setting, and we're not really getting a lot of explanation, and everything that is explained is so last minute explained that it just kind of drove me nuts. So we finished it. This thick old baby has been read, so that clears levels 7 and 8 for Jante's Inferno, which means we have read a book with a dark cover and a book with violence. I love that. I love the play on the words. I love the punniness of it all. So we finished it. It's done. We did it. I'm so excited. So now that we've finished Iron Flame, we can move on to reading Onyx Storm. I do, though, have to go through this stack of books and find it because it is inside of here somewhere. And I don't know where. All right, so now we have Onyx Storm. I'm actually excited. Let's find out if this book follows, I don't know, I'm curious to see how this one's written because everybody's been complaining about how confusing it is. And so I am really curious if rereading books 1 and 2 helps make this make sense. So we are now officially on levels 6 and 5 for Jante's Inferno, a hot pick and something with an intriguing synopsis. So we've got levels 5 and 6 here. I'm excited to get into it. We've got quite a bit to read. Today is the 10th, so we only have 6 more days, technically 6 full days, because this ends on the 16th. We have 6 more days to read this and then read 4 more books to read after we finish this big guy. And I think I downloaded the audiobook to help me tandem read this, and the audiobook was 23 hours. So this is probably going to take me a day or 2 to finish, which is not great because then that only leaves me 4 days to finish 4 books potentially. So that means a book a day. And I'm not a book a day reader, so we're going to stop babbling now, jump right into this book and get going. So I will see y'all with an update when I have one. Jante's Inferno Readathon. How's it going? Not well. Today is the 15th, tomorrow is the 16th. Tomorrow is the last day of the readathon, and I am still reading Onyx Storm. I'm still on my book for level 4 and 5. It's not going great. I'm somewhere in the hundreds pages of the book. This book is 500 pages. I don't think I'm gonna finish it in time, and that makes me really sad. I was really hoping I was going to be able to complete the readathon and like at least get close to finishing some other books and not get stuck on Fourth Wing, but I think I just bit off more than I could chew. I wasn't able to read a lot during the week with the baby and work. Unfortunately, it was just too hard to get all of the books that I wanted to read done. My goal is to just keep reading and get as many in as I can before the end of day tomorrow. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna continue reading Onyx Storm and hopefully finish it so that I can move on to my next book, and we'll just see where we get. That's the plan. And so yeah, that's my update. Hello. My oh my, has it been some time. We haven't seen each other in a while. I'm driving, obviously, another car vlog on my way to go pick up some groceries, but I figured while I was driving I would talk to you guys about my update for Jante's Inferno Readathon. It is February 21st. We did not make it. We didn't make it. I ended up finishing Onyx Storm on the 16th, but I didn't obviously make it through hell. I was very disappointed. I'm very sad. It made me sad. I really thought I could do it, but Onyx Storm just took me a lot longer to get through than I anticipated. And so what I've decided to do is I'm gonna continue the vlog. I'm gonna continue doing the readathon, obviously not within the time frame, so I'm never gonna escape hell, but I figured I wanted to read those books anyway, so I'm gonna continue on reading them. So we finished Onyx Storm. That was a 4-star. I'm doing a dedicated vlog about Fourth Wing series. It was a 4. It was all right. So now we are going to be moving on to reading The Taking of Jake Livingston. I'm really excited to read this. I am excited to get back into reading something. Onyx Storm kind of burnt me out after I finished it. It's the 21st and I have not read since the 16th. I was done. I was over it. I didn't care anymore. So I'm excited to get back into reading and hopefully read some books that I actually find interesting and not just reading books for a vlog. I think I decided, and I've talked about this in another video somewhere, that I think I've decided I'm no longer going to do a series reading vlog like I did for Fourth Ring or like I was doing for Hunger Games. I think I'm going to split them up and do them in segments instead of doing them as one full video, because 1, it takes too long, 2, it just stresses me out more because then that video editing process is like forever long because I'm reading sometimes 3 books, sometimes 4 books, sometimes 5 books. Like, that's way too many books to be putting in one video. That has nothing to do with this video, but just my thoughts on how I'm going to start doing some videos in the future. I'm going to go read Taking of Jake Livingston. I'm going to probably read it while I'm waiting for my groceries. Talk to you guys soon. Bye. page and a half, and I love this already. This is so good. I'm so glad I'm reading this now. Oh, this is so fun. It's such a fun little book. Reading update here. I've been reading The Taking of Jake Livingston. This book's really great, actually. This is not at all what I thought it was going to be when I started this book. Honestly, I'm pleasantly surprised. I quite like it. We are on page 27. There's 2 POVs in this book so far, and I'm not really understanding where the second POV is coming from exactly, so I'm sure that's going to be interesting and a fun way of figuring that out at some point. But I'm actually really enjoying this. However, is this supposed to be young adult or middle grade or what? Because some of the things that are happening in this book, not at all things that I would have expected to be in this book. First of all, cuss words. They say the B word a lot. And also talks of shooting people, killing people, suicide, like just a lot of heavy topics that I was not expecting to find in this book. It's really good though. I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a good time. So I'm going to continue reading. I'm laying here on the couch with my daughter, and we've got some ambiance music going on in the background. Just having a fun little family chill time reading a book. And she's watching my book move back and forth. I'll see you guys in my next update. I'm on my way to go get lunch today during my work. This is, excuse my appearance, but this is what you look like when you work from home and your laptop camera breaks and no one can see you. So, forgive me for looking crazy. We are going to go get some lunch, and I figured while I was going to get lunch, I would do an update and talk about where I'm at in my reading. So I'm still reading for Jante's Inferno, even though it's over. I still want to read the books that I put on that TBR. So I've been working towards that. I am still reading The Taking of Jake Livingston. I actually really like this book, but I will say there are some parts in here that do get kind of confusing for me. There's a lot of talk about astral projection and ghosty things, and like how this ghost world works, and it's just really hard to follow sometimes because it's a made-up world in a way, and so like some of the ways that it's described is just very like, sometimes it's very flowery, sometimes it's very kind of eccentric, if you will. Like, I don't know, the way that they describe what's happening and what's going on, it's like things are blurring into each other, and so it just kind of like makes it really confusing to understand what we're looking at and what we're supposed to be visualizing as the character in this book. But regardless, it's going really well. I am enjoying this book a lot. From my last update, it is a lot heavier of a tone than I thought this would be, but it also is like really good. I still am like curious what the like ratings for young adult are, because I guess my thought for what a young adult would be considered would be like high school age, but maybe that's wrong, and I guess I need to look into that. I really don't know the like breakup of, I would presume middle grade is middle school age, but like young adult, what age is that? Because some of the things in this book that they're covering are really like heavy topics, and not to say that like high schoolers shouldn't be able to cover these kind of heavy topics, but when I was in school, we weren't reading stuff like this. Actually, you know what? That's inaccurate. In high school, I was reading stuff, not fun like this, because this is more fun, but like heavy. We had those fake journals that they had. I'm trying to remember like what the company was. They're like Go Ask Alice kind of like journals or whatever. I thought those were wild, like crazy stories, and because they were talking about like people with drug addictions and eating disorders and sexual assault and all of these things. There were some like books that covered heavier topics, but those books were more to like dissuade children from doing certain things by shining a light on like how awful it is for your life. Like this book isn't really trying to do that. I mean, I know I can tell from some of the tones that they're obviously saying like school shootings are no bueno, but it's not like as overt as like Go Ask Alice was. It's very like, you get it from the tone of what they're talking about. that suicide's not the answer, but like it's not outwardly said like you shouldn't harm yourself. So anyway, I am loving this book. I do enjoy it. I'm enjoying having two perspectives. As soon as I recorded that last clip of me saying like there's two perspectives and I don't know where they're coming from, literally the next chapter was like, and this is who this person is, and I was like, oh, there we go. But it's very good. It does follow the idea on the synopsis about, you know, someone trying to potentially hurt Jake. So it does cover that, but it is not in the way that I expect. The story that is happening is not what I gathered from the back of the book. Also, there's some love going on in this story. At least it seems like there's some love that's going to be going on in this story. And I'm hopeful that that's still, like, that's really happening, because I really want my book to have this love story in it. Like, it really seems like that's where we're going, and I'm eating it up. It's cute. It's real cute. So I will wrap up with my final thoughts. Hopefully I finish this book today, because I do want to finish reading at least one other book from that TBR before February's over, but I don't think we're going to get all 4 books done that are still left. So kind of womp womp, but I'm still glad that I'm reading them, and I'm having a great time reading these books. And like, I feel like I did a pretty good job this month of reading some books that I didn't think I was going to really get to, or reading books that I had on this readathon. Like, I think it's really fun. I'm finding a book. I'm pretty sure my rating for Jake Livingston is somewhere around a 4 or 5. I need to see how it's going to end to know if it's a 5. It could be a 5 depending on the ending. Right now I'm leaning on a 4. That's my update for the Taking of Jake Livingston, and I will have an update for y'all again hopefully tomorrow, if not tonight. Bye! Hello. We're here to wrap up my reading vlog for Jante's Inferno. Guys, I didn't get as far as I thought I would in that reading. I'm not surprised, because I had a lot of really big books that I was reading in the beginning, and also because I only averaged reading 5 books in a month, so I wasn't surprised that I wasn't going to get all of those books read at once. But I did try, and I did go ahead and finish the Taking of Jake Livingston. I finished that actually yesterday, which would be March 1st, which is why I'm wrapping up this video, because we're not going to keep reading. I'm done. I tried. This is the end. But I did want to say I finished the Taking of Jake Livingston. I really enjoyed that book. It was so cute. The romance in it was adorable. I'm glad we got to like wrap up the romance at the end, because it was kind of feeling a little like, what's going on here? Definitely a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to read a queer Black author book in the month of February this year. So I enjoyed that. It didn't get a 5-star for me. It only got a 4-star. And the reason I gave it a 4-star, one, I don't really do half-star ratings very often, so it's either like 3, 4, 5 kind of vibes, but I ended up going with a 4 because I just didn't like, I wasn't in love with the description of some of the paranormal things that were happening, and it kept taking me out of the story, and I kept getting really lost and confused with some of that. So that was part of the reason why I gave it a 4. The paranormal pieces, trying to understand the magic system that was happening, it just was kind of clunky for me. But generally I loved the story. I thought the story was great. I think the background and the premise of what he was trying to get us to understand was really great as well. The overall premise of this book is, in my opinion, the idea of how does being a homosexual in society affect people differently, and what do you do with that, and what do you do with the anger that it gives you, and how do you interact with the world around you based on that. It's a very home-hitting kind of situation, and I definitely understand it. I think also we're looking at this from a perspective of a white boy's experience with homosexuality versus a Black boy's experience of homosexuality, and how the two of them decide and want to engage in the world once the world knows, and also once their families find out, and how their families react, how their families treat them, and how they respond in return. There are a lot of themes about racism in this book as well. Ryan Douglas did an amazing job. He did an amazing job writing this book. He did an amazing job with the descriptions and the understandings. There were parts that I will say at the end, I think that's also the reason I gave it a 4-star, is there's something that happens in the end that it really, really, really is like unrealistic how it all folds out, that like there's no repercussions for what happens in the end, and we just kind of like gloss over the fact that this thing happened and we move on. I don't think that that's very realistic. Obviously this story isn't very realistic because it's following paranormal things and like interacting with ghosts in a dead world and that kind of thing, but I do think that there are some elements there where it's just kind of like, so what about that thing over there? Like this very big thing happened over here and we're just gonna be like, cool, so that happened. Anyway, moving on. That also kind of threw me at the end. So that's why ultimately I gave it a 4-star. There was just some plot holes, I think, ultimately that kind of threw me. But generally speaking, loved that book. I think it's really good. I really need to figure out if it's a young adult or what the like rating for it's supposed to be. Because like I said, there were some very heavy topics in this book that I was not expecting from this book. I was not expecting it to be what it turned out to be at all. But I am pleasantly surprised and happy that it turned out to be what it was, because it was so good. It was just so good. So anyway, that's my review and rating for The Taking of Jake Livingston. I hope that you guys enjoyed coming along with me on this readathon. We failed this one and I'm like about it. I'm gonna try again next year. I already asked Jan if she's gonna be doing this again next year and she said she would, so we will try again next year. Hopefully next year we're in a better space to be able to like actually participate in readathons in the way that I would like to participate and like actually actively do the thing. I have another readathon coming for the month of March. I am actually a bestie for Books and Lala's YouTube channel. I subscribed to be a bestie of hers recently, and she is doing a readathon for the month of March, and I really want to do it because it's a readathon about reading books that are from your backlog, like books you've had for a long time. And y'all know from that TBR shelf review that I did, there are some books that I've had since middle school, and I would love to get through those books. I think that would be like my thing that I would love to do for that vlog. It's a 3-day vlog. We got 3 books. They're really easy books to read too, and one of them I've already read before, so I think I can do 3 books in a weekend. So stay tuned in March for, or this month, it is March. Stay tuned for the Books and Lala readathon. I'm excited to do it and I'm going to be recording it, so I'll have that for you guys. Coming up soon too, I will have my TBR for March as well as my wrap up for the month, so for February. So I hope you guys enjoyed this readathon. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe. Also leave me a comment down below. Have you read any of the books that I read for this? Would you want to read any of these books? Is there a book that you thought I should have read? Definitely let me know. My reading vlog for Onyx Storm will be out soon, so you'll get to see my like full unfiltered thoughts about that. I recorded my thoughts on that and I would love to hear y'all's opinions. So I will talk with y'all soon. See you soon. Bye.